The halls of Parliament echoed with outrage. Labour's Commons leader Lucy Powell had spoken. Her words, meant to dismiss concerns about grooming gangs, instead ignited a firestorm. "Let's get that dog whistle out, shall we?" she remarked dismissively. The target of her disdain? A Channel 4 documentary daring to shed light on the horrific reality of grooming gangs. Powell's words, dripping with contempt, revealed a chilling disregard for the suffering of victims. Powell's comment, a blatant attempt to downplay the issue, backfired spectacularly. Instead of silencing critics, she had amplified their voices. The public was appalled. How could a government minister be so callous? How could she trivialize the trauma of countless individuals? The backlash was swift and merciless. Social media erupted in fury. Hashtags like #PowellMustGo and #GroomingGangsAreReal trended nationwide. News outlets, both large and small, condemned Powell's remarks. The public's message was clear: we will not be silenced. We demand accountability. The political fallout was immediate. Opposition leaders seized on Powell's gaffe, calling for her resignation. Even members of her own party distanced themselves, their expressions a mixture of shock and embarrassment. In a single, ill-conceived sentence, Powell had managed to unite a fractured political landscape against her. The question on everyone's mind: how could she possibly recover from this? The condemnation of Powell's dog whistle remark was swift and came from all corners of society. Politicians, both allies and adversaries, lined up to denounce her words. The public, already reeling from the revelations of the Channel 4 documentary, expressed their outrage on social media and in the streets. Powell had become a lightning rod for criticism, her dismissive comment a symbol of the government's perceived inaction on the issue of grooming gangs. Health Secretary Wes Streeting, a fellow Labour MP, attempted to defend Powell, suggesting her words were a genuine mistake. His words, however, rang hollow to many. The damage had been done. The public had glimpsed what they perceived as the government's true feelings on the matter: indifference. Opposition figures were less forgiving. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp called Powell's comments a disgraceful smear and demanded her immediate dismissal. He accused the government of being out of touch and more interested in protecting their own than safeguarding vulnerable children. His words resonated with a public hungry for accountability. Beyond the political arena, survivors of grooming gangs and their families were left reeling. Powell's dismissive language, her attempt to paint their experiences as a fabrication of the right-wing media, was a slap in the face. For years they had been ignored, disbelieved, and silenced. Now, when their stories were finally being heard, a government minister had the audacity to dismiss their trauma as a political ploy. The betrayal cut deep. The public's reaction was visceral and sustained. Petitions calling for Powell's resignation garnered hundreds of thousands of signatures. Protests were organized in cities across the country, with crowds demanding justice for victims and accountability from those in power. The message was clear: the public would not stand idly by while their leaders turned a blind eye to this horrific crime. The firestorm ignited by Lucy Powell's dog whistle comment showed no signs of abating. Instead of offering a sincere apology and acknowledging the pain her words had caused, Powell chose a different path: deflection and denial. Her subsequent actions, or lack thereof, only served to pour gasoline on the already raging fire of public outrage. In a move that stunned even her most ardent critics, Powell took to Twitter, the very platform where her condemnation echoed loudest. But instead of offering words of remorse or taking responsibility for her callous remark, she doubled down. Her tweet, a masterpiece of non-apology, expressed regret not for her words, but for the fact that they had caused offense. The tweet, lacking any genuine contrition, was met with a fresh wave of anger and disgust. Critics pounced on the carefully chosen language, highlighting the use of "if" and "any offense" as evidence of Powell's unwillingness to accept responsibility for her words. The public saw through the carefully crafted statement, recognizing it for what it was: a desperate attempt to save face rather than a sincere expression of remorse. Powell's non-apology achieved the opposite of its intended effect. Instead of quelling the controversy, it breathed new life into it. The hashtag #NotAnApology began trending alongside #PowellMustGo, further solidifying the public's perception of her as out of touch and lacking empathy. The calls for her resignation, once a chorus of dissenting voices, now swelled into a deafening roar. The public's anger was palpable. They had demanded an apology, a recognition of the pain Powell's words had caused. Instead, they received a carefully worded statement that reeked of insincerity. The message was clear. Powell was more concerned with protecting her political career than acknowledging the suffering of grooming gang victims. This perceived lack of empathy, this unwillingness to truly grapple with the gravity of the situation, only served to further erode public trust in her and the government she represented. As the controversy surrounding Lucy Powell's dog whistle comment raged on, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. This was not an isolated incident, but the tip of the iceberg, revealing a history of dismissive comments from Powell on grooming gangs. Past statements resurfaced, painting a troubling picture of Powell's attitude towards this sensitive issue. Her credibility was shattered, her position untenable. In the aftermath of the scandal, survivors have bravely come forward to share their stories. Their voices, once silenced, are now being heard. Each account sheds light on the systemic failures and the need for justice. Maggie Oliver, a former detective, has become a prominent advocate for the survivors. Her relentless pursuit of justice has brought national attention to the issue. Maggie's efforts have not only highlighted the plight of the victims, but also exposed the inadequacies within the system. The minister, once seen as untouchable, now faces intense scrutiny. Questions are being asked about their role in the scandal and whether they will be held accountable. The public demands answers and the pressure is mounting. Lucy Powell, a rising political star, finds herself at a crossroads. The scandal has cast a shadow over her career, and her future remains uncertain. Will she be able to navigate the political fallout, or will this controversy mark the end of her ambitions?
Did you know that over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed to the channel? We totally get it. Life gets busy, and sometimes it's easy to forget. But here's the thing. Subscribing is completely free, and it really helps us keep creating the content you enjoy. So, why not hit that subscribe button and join our community? It only takes a second, but it makes a world of difference to us. Thank you for your support. Cherenji.